Welcome to a sports betting podcast from pregame.com for the week of October 8, 2009. I'm your host, RJ Bell. I'm joined by Vegas Runner, a genuine bettor here in Vegas, and Marco D'Angelo, 30 years in the business. This is segment 4 or 5. We're breaking down the Sunday night game, Indianapolis and Tennessee. Okay, first up, line report. Tell us about this game, how it opened, etc.
This line opened everywhere 3 and 46. Obviously, Indianapolis -3 and 46. Since that time, we've seen the Colts get the money, and we're looking at 3.5 all the way to -4, anywhere between them two numbers. It don't take pretty easy to know which way this line's going to go. Only one direction.
So right now, on taping on Wednesday, the line is 3.5?
3.5 or 4s. You know, anywhere between them two numbers.
Okay, now this is interesting. In the prior segment, we talked about New England and Denver. And so we have a New England team which is playing, I think you would say, not as well as Indianapolis, right? On a neutral field, Indy's the favorite right now, right?
Yes.
And you got Denver, who clearly would be a favorite. Marco just started smiling. There's a heck of a point here.
Yeah, there's a heck of a point coming here.
All right, so let's hear this one. But I'll lay the point out first. Now you got Denver, clearly would be a favorite again. Well, you would think against Tennessee on the neutral, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, but New England is laying 3 to Denver, and Indy's laying, opened up a 3 at Tennessee. So, if you like New England, wouldn't you have to love Indianapolis? Let's ask Marco.
This is the whole point. And what I do in the previous segment, I got called Square.
And remember, guys, you can watch all of our segments at pregame.tv, but go ahead.
A lot of times when I handicap games, when there's games that are similar in nature, line-wise, and the teams that are playing, you look at them, and similar here is you have New England as a road favorite and Indianapolis as a road favorite. I set the two side by side and say, if I'm John Q. Public betting, which one is easier to take? And Indianapolis is absolutely the easier play to make at the two lines that you have on Sunday.
Well, that's why you got to lay 4 with them, though. It's a big difference between 3 with New England and 4 with Indianapolis.
That's a good point.
On the road.
If you compared the open, now let's think about when the odds makers came out. They came out.
These games were basically
3 on
the
Indy.
same.
Well, actually, it was the opposite. They came out New England 3.5,
higher,
and Indy at 3.
Right.
And now it's flipped.
This is a game. Tennessee's 0-4. They're an absolute train wreck. This is their season. It's national TV. Nobody likes to be embarrassed.
This is their season. Tennessee?
Tennessee.
Their season's over.
Well,
after week 2 and 3, that was.
Well, I mean, no team in history has ever started 0-4 and made the playoffs, right?
What about San Diego Chargers last year?
They did?
Yeah.
They were 0-4?
Were they the first? I don't know.
They were the first to make the playoffs.
Well, they were 8-8 in the division. Which you're right. Thanks for the correction there. I guess I've been saying that so long.
Forever. No team.
But wait. Let me ask you this: what's the odd? What would I have to lay you in order for you to bet Tennessee's going to make the playoffs?
Well, they're not.
Would you take it 100-1?
No, because they're not. They're not. Going to make
so how isn't their season over?
Well, the fact that it's a division game, it's their biggest rival, Indianapolis. It's on national TV. Stranger things happen, and when you get into it,
that's the bet we're betting because it might be a crazy event. What do you like here? Do you have even a slight opinion?
Right now, I'm leaning to Tennessee in the game.
Now, the thing about Marco is, and you guys listened last week, he had the Browns on his free pick. This guy, I got to tell you, it's funny because it's easy to make fun of him because he always takes. No, it is because you take the team that's the hardest. You have to hold your nose.
Tough. And I say that sometime on the phone line. I know, guys, you're going to have trouble walking to the line if you're betting this at a window.
You have to hold your nose to make most of his picks. And you know something? All joking aside, that's why you're one of the most winning cappers in history.
Exactly.
I mean, literally, is no one, or I don't think anyone can match the 30-year record here. But the fact is, how do we debate and find the point where, not the point, but the perspective in which sometimes a stinky team is stinky for a reason? And I look at this Tennessee and I think it's one thing if everyone said they're a piece of crap and all of a sudden they're getting 8 points. But it's like, what would this line have been? If this game had happened in week 1,
what would it have been?
It would have been about Pitt, right?
Exactly.
Because Indy and Pittsburgh.
Tennessee might have even been favored last year in Tennessee. Tennessee was -4 against the Colts.
But what I'm saying is Indy's But what I'm saying is, based upon Indy being maybe the best team in football so far,
right.
Tennessee not winning a game, and the line's only moved 3 points.
And Indy's covered 3 or 4 games, so they're covering on top.
I mean, where's the value?
Winning,
I love holding your nose, except you're going to get value when you hold your nose. Where's the value?
Well, what you have when you've got a dangerous 0-4 team. Now, when I say dangerous, what you have in it, they don't have anything.
It's like a 200-pound model.
They don't have anything to lose. They can go on 4th and 2s. They can go.
Is that an advantage?
It can be. It can backfire. It can backfire
and turn
too.
ugly. Yeah,
it can turn ugly. But those kind of plays can extend drives.
But couldn't we talk about the Rams? Couldn't we talk about the Detroit Lions? I mean, every bad team falls into that. But I mean, we don't blindly bet those teams.
You don't blindly, but you do pick your spots. And national TV games against division rivals as a home dog is where teams will, play above their heads if they're going to play above their heads.
I got to agree, honestly. It's tough to take Tennessee, but I think this line's going to go to 4.5 because it is a Sunday night game, and we've been seeing them Sunday night and Monday night games. The bookmakers not being afraid to move them at all when money comes in. And I think we're going to see this one move as well. And as the line goes up, I do think there is value in Tennessee because I think this is the kind of game the Colts just want to get out of there with a win. They've blown teams out. They scored 30-plus in back-to-back games. You get a little too overconfident, and I think that's the only danger here for the Colts.
So I have one call. Let's slow it down because I want to make a deeper point, and then I'm going to ask Marco a question and how it applies here versus college football. Is the fact of the matter is that we have a Tennessee team in which. Well, let me ask the question first because it's just screaming at me as I look at my notes here. Is this team's disappointed? We talk in college all the time is whatever the goal for a team is, when they fail to meet that goal, is they emotionally have trouble the next week or two because their goal's gone. It doesn't matter how well they play. No matter how well Tennessee plays this week, they're not going to make the playoffs. Isn't there an emotional factor to that? That might not be there in a couple weeks when they get used to that fact. But this is, even last week, they were playing for their lives. This week, they're really playing for only pride. Isn't there an emotional element to that?
Because it's the Colts, I think we will get an A game from them. I think if it was Cincinnati coming in or a team like that, I think we would be in for a letdown even if it is on national TV. I think being the Colts, getting a chance to prove yourself against a 4-0 team who many are saying are the best in the AFC, I think if this team has any talent, then they should cover this game. If they do have talent. Because let's not forget, the odds makers are not adjusting this team enough. People say there's no such thing as a trap game. And if that's the truth and there's no such thing as a trap game, then this line shouldn't have came out as a field goal. So the only explanation for that is the odds makers refuse to adjust on Tennessee.
The point Marco made a couple weeks ago was that they're very slow to adjust that a team they expected to be good not playing well. And that's why sometimes teams like this end up 4-12 ATS.
They would. Again, not to belabor the point, but if this game was just on the regular Sunday card, just with the rest of the schedule, I would not even be looking at the Tennessee side at all. It's the fact that it's a TV game. You have to handicap the game totally different. There's a totally different emotional level. The crowd is at a different level. It's a night game.
Are they going to be, though, with an 0-4
maybe a little cold?
Because it's the Colts, yes.
All right. Okay, let me make a quick last point here is VR, you're doing an amazing work at Pregame Blogs on line moves. We talked about that. One of the concepts you've brought out to me is when you see a line move in the direction that you know the public is going to be betting, then it's the wise guys potentially taking a position saying we're going to get it early, so they got it at 3, and maybe we're going to buy back at 4.5 or whatever. When you look at this game, does it look like a position that's causing this early line move where they're going to actually keep their bets, or are they looking to set up an arbitrage?
This would be strictly to set up an arbitrage, knowing Sunday night game, national TV, bailout game, public's going to come in
Sorry to interrupt, we're up against it. Okay, that's segment 4. Segment 5, we're going to be previewing the Monday night game. And remember, you can get all of our videos at pregame.tv, or you can go to iTunes, download and listen, just search for pregame.com.